Get ready for the most massive madness party in Las Vegas. Join us March 19th through the 21st right here at the South Point Hotel and Casino. It's 3 straight days of massive video screens, massive food and drink specials, massive access to betting windows and kiosks. The only thing that's not massive is the price. Free parking and entry as always. Tip-off to the madness starts right here at South Point Hotel and Casino, March 19th through the 21st.
Looking to bet smarter? Get sports betting insight and winning picks straight from the South Point Hotel and Casino.
The favorite should be 220-ish, and here, you could lay $1.65.
So getting a plus 315 price here for this one to go to overtime. I like it.
Their strength is their defense. I like the under.
Join Sports by the Book Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific and bet your winning edge.
Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome in. This is Sports by the Book. We are live from the South Point Hotel and Casino. Excited to be with you. I know it is March, and that means we have conference tournaments going on. A couple teams, I believe we're at 5 now with auto bids to the NCAA tournament. We'll keep you up on that. Some championship games tonight, and we keep it rolling here. I'm excited to talk about some of these mid-major games happening tonight. We'll also hit on some hockey. And then we got to talk a little NFL. I'm Alex White alongside Ryan McCormick. And Ryan, even though it is March, the National Football League kind of takes over some headlines here today. And, I mean, we even have baseball. Spring training has been great. I know you were working all weekend out there. And we even have the World Baseball Classic here. So a lot going on this Monday, March 9th. But NFL news, what just happened in the last 10 minutes or so?
A ton of things have happened this morning as it is the first day of free agency. So we'll start in Miami with a couple different moves that they've made this morning. First, they released Tua Tagovailoa, making it the largest dead cap hit in NFL history. The Dolphins will eat $99 million of dead money on their cap space over the next 2 seasons. But it looks like the Falcons will make a move to try and sign Tua. Another Dolphins move, 2 other Dolphins moves. They trade the safety that they acquired via trade last year, brought back to Miami from the Steelers. That would be Minkah Fitzpatrick. They trade him to the New York Jets. And then they also find the replacement at quarterback by signing Malik Willis to a 3-year, $67 million deal. For Malik Willis, so they will now be paying over $100 million, $150 million to 2 quarterbacks, one that's not even going to be playing for them over the next couple of years. But yeah, those are the moves for the Dolphins. I mentioned the Falcons possibly signing Tua here. They bring back Olamide Zaccheaus, who spent a year with the Bears. So after playing with the Falcons for several years, he goes to the Bears and now returns to the Falcons. So a little bit of homecoming there. The Packers. We talked about last week that Rashawn Gary announced that he would not be returning to that organization, and then had to delete that post, and now repost that post because he was traded to the Dallas Cowboys this morning for a 4th-round pick in next year's draft. The Packers, acquire linebacker Zaire Franklin from the Indianapolis Colts, and then the Colts made some other moves this week. So they re-sign Alec Pierce to a 4-year, $116 million contract, so $29 million a year for Alec Pierce, who apparently declined deals from the Patriots and 49ers to stay there in Indianapolis. They also trade Michael Pittman Jr. to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we will have Pittsburgh Steeler fan Chris Andrews on the show, director of the South Point Sportsbook here at the South Point Hotel and Casino, on the show later today. So we'll hear his thoughts on acquiring Michael Pittman and adding to that wide receiver room. But in some other AFC team news, Travis Kelce announces that he will be returning to the Kansas City Chiefs for his 14th year in the National Football League. And they signed Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker to a 3-year, $45 million deal to be their new running back for the next 3 years. So the Chiefs get Kenneth Walker there. Which is also the highest free agent signing for a running back in NFL history, according to Ian Rappaport. The Giants add a tight end in Isaiah Likely. So reunites with his Ravens head coach now in New York with the Giants. So Isaiah likely to a 3-year, $40 million deal with the Giants, meaning that my guy Daniel Bellinger will not be returning to the Giants. So he'll be testing the free agent market. Look out for the Titans because he really likes Nashville. But yeah, so that's the kind of start of the NFL news this morning. There is going to be a whole lot more coming out. We'll more than likely involve that stuff in our posts and polls for the remainder of this week. But yeah, as we're in the best time for college basketball, the NFL finds a way to take the forefront of the media news.
Well done, Ryan. Kind of summed it all up very nicely there in the first couple minutes, and we will keep everybody updated with all of that. I like that Kenneth Walker move a lot for the Chiefs, and in a division that's looking to be very competitive, and we know that they do want to be able to run the rock. So I think that is a good move for them. And Patrick Mahomes coming off that injury and just couldn't get it going with their backfield lately since Isaiah Pacheco was injured. But we'll keep an eye on that. Miami, a lot of moves this morning. Woke up to the Tua news and then already have another quarterback. So we will definitely talk to Chris Andrews. We'll also recap this weekend and what was in college basketball, because the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? I mean, the bubble teams were awful on Saturday, a lot of them losing their final regular season game. So it kind of just shows everybody where we are, and it is a very weak tournament field in regards to the teams competing to get in. So why not have more mid-majors have a chance, I say. So we might, I think it's looking like the MAC will be a 2-bid league with Miami, Ohio, getting it done, the undefeated regular season, only the 6th team in history to do that. So a lot to get to, which we'll talk a little bit of trends and stuff as we do that. But anything else hockey related from the weekend, or NBA or college basketball from your side, Ryan?
So I'll make a mention. We did have Big League Weekend here at Las Vegas Ballpark in Las Vegas, featuring the Los Angeles Angels, and the Athletics were in town for 2 games over Saturday and Sunday. We had over 21,000 fans show up to the 2 games combined at Las Vegas Ballpark. Our broadcast went to Fox 5 Local here in Las Vegas and to NBC Sports Bay Area. So if you got to watch either of those, yours truly was pushing the buttons. So I'm very prideful in what we were able to accomplish and kind of showcase at our ballpark here in Las Vegas. The A's kind of mentioned and showed off everything that they're building downtown. But for now, what we've got at Las Vegas Ballpark is the most beautiful ballpark in Las Vegas. So that's what we got there. And then I did want to make a mention of, we'll first go to the whiteboard before I talk about something that happened in hockey yesterday. Friday's hockey plays did not go well. 0-3 in hockey. Carolina scored 2 points in 10 minutes in the second half against Duke. You can't win against that team doing that, but they did cover the 17. So board on Friday, 1-3. To a very entertaining hockey game yesterday that ended 8-7 between the Buffalo Sabres and Tampa Bay Lightning. Per Buchagras, just the 9th time in NHL history, including playoffs, that a game had 100+ penalty minutes and 15 or more goals. 100+ penalty minutes and 15 or more goals in the game. The last instance came in the playoffs, April 25th, 1989. That was between the Penguins and Flyers, so the Keystone rivalry there. And the last regular season instance was back in 1986, January 31st, between the Vancouver Canucks and Minnesota North Stars. So it's been a very long time since we saw that physical of a hockey game and that entertaining of a hockey game with biscuits going in baskets. So if you got to watch the Sabres complete that comeback against the Lightning yesterday, awesome for you, awesome for the NHL. That one was a very fun one to watch.
That was definitely one where you are watching the highlights if you didn't get to watch it live, as I didn't either. Where I was at that spring training game at the Las Vegas Ballpark and keeping up with the Michigan and Michigan State game and a lot of others. And then I'm watching the highlights, and it's one of those that you're like, man, I really wish I would have seen this live. It was the first period, right, that most of those penalties came from, and the nonstop fights. And good on Buffalo. I mean, they are still sitting, well, I guess they're tied now, 80 points each. Let me refresh that and make sure. No, 84-82. So Buffalo is sitting at the top of the Atlantic. Been on a crazy win streak, 7 in a row now for the Sabres. So fun team too to root for here. So we'll definitely get talking about them more throughout the week. And 5 games on the slate today I'm looking forward to talking about. Going over whiteboards, 2-2 for me. UNLV did get the cover because they are playing some good basketball right now. UCF, no good on Friday. Maybe I'm wrong about West Virginia. We'll find out here soon. Bowling Green, pretty easy cover as a small favorite. Sharks, bad time to take them last Friday. But I was very happy and satisfied with the 2 that really jumped out to me getting it done on Saturday. New Mexico kept it close enough against Utah State. So I said take 5.5 or better, and Wisconsin 6. And Vinny let me know we were probably going to get more points than I was anticipating, which was good. Needed all the points we could get with New Mexico, not Wisconsin. Man out, and they still found a way to beat Purdue outright. So good on those jumping out on Saturday. And shout out to Ryan, because talking about the ACC seating being locked up, we stayed off of Miami, and that was a good call there. So let's go ahead and touch on some hockey really quick, and then we got to talk about we'll talk about the auto bids already and who's won conferences so far, but we got to talk about Coastal, Horizon, a ton of conference tournament games on the hardwood tonight. But hockey first.
All right. Well, we will start with the 5 games that we have tonight on the NHL slate. So it is the Kings, Los Angeles Kings, on the road in Columbus, taking on the Blue Jackets. The Blue Jackets are a -145 home favorite here at the South Point, +125 for the Kings. Total is 6 with a 110 both ways.
I'm very, very tempted to take the Kings here. I know Columbus has been playing good. I've got a -129 at home. I feel like that's a pretty fair price. So getting that +125 on the other side with the Kings. And Los Angeles, Ryan, we've talked about it a lot this year. They've been a better road team than they were a home team, which is the opposite of last year. But, I mean, they do have a nice winning record, 15. I guess not really winning, but forcing overtime. 15-8-7 on the year on the road. Do I dare bet against Columbus? Total, I've got 6 right there as well. Under 110. What do you think? Did you have a feel for this one?
I do think the price is a little too steep here for Columbus, but I do think that they'll be able to defend home ice. It is the first time on the road for the Los Angeles Kings getting back from this Olympic break. They had a 6-game homestand coming off of that Olympic break, and now they go on a 5-game road trip. It is the first of a back-to-back for the Kings as they are in Boston tomorrow night. They also have another back-to-back on this road trip as they have a break from Tuesday to Friday, but then they play Friday and Saturday in New York. Oh, New York, New Jersey. They play the Islanders and then the Devils. So 2 back-to-backs on this 5-game road trip. But I would tend to think that the Jackets will be able to defend home ice. But you're talking about value, and absolutely, with the prices the way it is, the value would be to take the plus price with the Kings being able to get it done.
So we've got Columbus is on the first of a back-to-back as well, going to Tampa Bay. My automated, what I saw come up for my sheet tomorrow was only three teams, but I guess it's going to be a lot more. And is everybody in action tomorrow?
I gotta take a look. Yeah, they are going home to road and going down to Florida. So that would convince me a little more for the Kings there. But for tomorrow's games, it does look like we have.
I think it's 13, so almost. But
I could look on.
It's a lot of games tomorrow.
Yeah, 1, 2, 14. 14?
14?
14. Yep. Whole lot of hockey tomorrow. So we'll have fun with that one as well, as we have Matt and Everett joining us on the show tomorrow. So we'll be talking college basketball as the Mountain West tournament begins this week. We'll also be making some Power 5 picks in that one, but talking plenty of hockey with Matt tomorrow. So going to the next one. The Capitals hosting the Flames. Capitals a minus 190 home favorite there, plus 170 for the Flames buyback. Total is a 6 with a 120 to the under.
I have aggressively moved Washington down. I thought this number, I thought mine was still too high. I've got a minus 175 at home, but the market still has them, I think, even too high here. Do I want to get involved with Calgary? Not necessarily. First of a back-to-back for them is Washington on this list as well. And I kind of missed that. I don't think they are. Okay. I think the Flames have been playing competitive. I would only take a shot here with the dog, but 5.5 is my total as well. Might be an underplay here, minus 120. I do trust both goalies, either one that's going for Calgary, and looks like it will be Logan Thompson. So under 6 is I think a good spot there, and I lean to the Flames.
Start of a 5-game road trip there for the Flames. They have been on the road. They had a California road trip coming back off of the Olympic break, so they were in San Jose, LA, and Anaheim. They did win the first against San Jose off the first game back of the Olympic break, so they have won a game to start a road trip off of the Olympic break. So this would be the same kind of instance, and we're talking about value, so it would be the plus price there with the Flames because it's way too steep on the Caps and how they're playing.
Agreed.
All
And
right.
minus 120 with that 6 too. I like that too. Okay.
Going to Philly, where the Rangers are on the road, getting plus 115 on their money line. 135 is the home favorite. 5.5 is the total. 110 both ways.
Now this is a home team that I don't think that is high enough. I actually have the Flyers minus 153. I'm out on the Rangers altogether. Dead last right now in the Metro with 56 points. 3-5-2 in their last 10. I know the Flyers haven't been a whole lot better. 5-3-2, but I do think that they are playing more competitive hockey. I made it 153, so it's about a 20-cent difference. If I were to play it, it would be on the home team here, but I probably won't get involved where you don't really know what you're getting from either side. 5.5 over is my total as well, so not a big enough difference there. Ryan, anything for you between these two?
So coming off the break, the Rangers played in 3 consecutive overtime games, losing 2, winning 1. But off the break, they lost in overtime, won in a shootout, lost in overtime, won, and then lost in their last game against the Devils. So here against the Flyers, if you're going with that, it would be a win here, which would be a two-way action. But the Rangers have not been good this year. Not a confident play at all. The Flyers did burn me last week, so can't exactly make it a confident play. But if you're saying it's a little short on their number, I would think that they'll be able to defend home ice here.
I don't know if you bet on the Rangers
Flyers
at all this year. No, I know. I mean, I'm just thinking on the year. I feel like you were pretty ahead of it. No, I know you were betting against them.
Yeah.
At home.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I agree. But I mean, can the Flyers catch anyone? 69 points here. Are they still playing for a wild card spot? I guess technically they're 2 points behind the Senators and 4 behind Columbus. They're all chasing, of course, those 2 wild card spots. But just want to make sure, right? There is some motivation still for these teams.
Yeah. So the argument I was kind of making is that the Rangers have been kind of competitive off this break.
Yeah.
Getting Shesterkin back. So I mean that's why we're also seeing this total at 5.5. There is a 125 in the market.
You could get enough.
If you again, I'm not at all confident playing the Rangers, whatever. But if it moves to a 130, I would be inclined to take in that price there. But I don't think it'll get there because it's just a lone 125 in the market. So don't think we'll end up getting that 130. It's actually moved down. So seems like the Rangers have taken a bit of action. That one ultimately is going to be a stay off. So we'll go to Chicago, where the Blackhawks are hosting the Mammoth. Mammoth are a 210 road favorite, up to 225 in the market. 180 on the buyback for the Blackhawks. Total is 6, 110 both ways.
Ryan, are we getting a new goalie here tonight for the Blackhawks? I'm seeing different different things here. I know it was Soderblom yesterday, so this is the second of a back-to-back for Chicago. Utah, it will be Pamelka. I've got Utah a little bit higher. I have had to adjust Chicago down with all of their trades. So I've got Utah minus 160 on the road. I don't love that. Typically a team that back in at home, but on the road, their median number's pretty good. 3 goals for, 2 goals against. Is that how high it's gotten? 210?
Yeah,
Wow.
here at the South
Okay.
Point, yeah.
So I guess mine is actually leaning the other way. I thought it was a little bit lower than that. Yeah, 210. So mine would be Chicago, but I don't know if we're getting Spencer Knight.
It does not look like we'll be getting Spencer Knight. Apparently, Jeff Blashill, head coach for the Blackhawks, said Spencer took a bit of a twirl. Don't know how that really translates, but it apparently will be confirmed. Drew Comesso in net for the Hawks here tonight. So second of a back-to-back. The Stars almost blew another game in regulation and losing in overtime. They did that on Friday against the Avalanche and almost did it last night against the Blackhawks. So Hawks going from road to home here, have that little bit of travel from Dallas up to Chicago. It's also the third of 4 meetings between these two teams this year. The Hawks have won both priors.
Wow.
And have covered the puck line, reverse puck line, in both priors. The most recent meeting was the first of this month, and the Hawks won in Utah, if we're talking about that shutout for the Blackhawks, that 4-0 win there. So got to think the Mammoth will be fired up. Hawks could be a little tired off that trip, but looking at value, that plus 180 is there. Wouldn't be playing the reverse puck line just because of the travel factor and the kind of the home revenge spot here with the Mammoth. But value there, plus 180, I think, on the Hawks.
Well, I must have been looking at a different game. I'm with you. I mean, plus 180, that's a 30-cent difference. No, 20-cent difference. I've got it minus 160. But yeah, that's pretty big difference there, getting plus 180. I might take a little bit of that because you're also going to have everybody stepping up in front of the young goalie who has just 2 starts on the year.
Yep.
So, all right, good. Total for me is right there at 6 as well.
Okay. And to the final one of the night, over the border in Vancouver, the Senators on the road against the Canucks. Senators a even larger road favorite, the largest favorite on the board here tonight. Minus 220 on the road. Plus 190 is the price for the Canucks. Total is a 6.5 with a 120 to the under.
I think this is a little steep for Ottawa as well. I've got a minus 180 on the road here, so you're getting that plus 190. Is 10 cents enough? I don't think so. Even keeping an eye on that Vancouver Jets game the other night where Vancouver had a little bit of a lead, and then the Jets came back to win it. They didn't have very many shots on goal even, so I don't know. Vancouver's been more competitive, wouldn't you say, Ryan? Or is that one rivalry game that you don't want to take too much from?
I would say the latter. But yeah, I mean, you also have to take these are professional hockey players. These are professional athletes. They're going to be taking their job seriously. They're competing for their jobs, and they know that we've been considering them the worst team. Everybody's been considering them as the worst team in the National Hockey League. So, yeah, they've got to put in a fight night in and night out. And especially with a Canadian battle, you're going to have to show up. So that's going to be the same instance here tonight. I would tend to think that Ottawa will be able to handle their business because the Canucks have not won games or have had a very hard time winning games of recent. So we watched them get obliterated by the Hurricanes. So possibly a 2-goal win here for the Senators if you want to make a play on this game, but only a 110 price there isn't necessarily worth it.
You're right.
Close game, the plus 1.5 minus 130 could be good. With the Canadian battle, but again, you're relying on a bad team. So
Yeah. Yeah, laying that. I leaned to the over here too, even at 6.5. I wish I knew Vancouver for the year, but their median number is 4 goals against, and Ottawa has won 7 of their last 10. So trying to make a push here. All right, well, I'm gonna stick with the Blackhawks as a little pizza money and stay away from that one. And then I've got one total there with Washington and Calgary. Hopefully they both show up. Good goaltending. All right, but let's go over to some mid-major college basketball before Chris Andrews joins us at the desk. Unless you had anything else for hockey for today.
No, we can go to the hardwood.
And I'm glad that you mentioned that. It might be a longer show tomorrow, so get ready because we do have Matt and Everett. We are going to talk a lot of college hoops, but we definitely want to spend our time on the hockey slate as well. No show for us Thursday or Friday, as we'll be getting ready for a live Selection Sunday show on Sunday. So really looking forward to that here with the crew. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, normal time, 10 a.m. And then Saturday, TBD, but probably like 3 p.m.-ish. Is that what we said? Sunday, sorry. After the bracket is revealed, after South Point puts out the first numbers for the sides for all the matchups, and we'll do a live show here. So, all right, let's get to it. I've got a couple underdogs I really like, but the numbers are moving, so might need to jump in ASAP.
All right, we'll start with the Coastal taking place over in Washington, D.C. Campbell on the road at Monmouth. Monmouth is a 1.5-point home favorite. I say home favorite. Technicality there,
Yeah.
But total is 153.
So it was 2.5 with Campbell. I think the market is going in the right direction. I might do a little bit of a round robin here with the underdogs that are catching 1.5, but instead kind of throwing them up, do a round robin with them on the money line. Campbell is the first one. So Coastal it's kind of a mess. The top 2 seeds are out. And thanks to Campbell, because they took out UNC Wilmington, and then Towson took out Charleston. So kind of makes this more wide open. These two right here, they did split in the regular season. Monmouth's not that much better. Their offensive and defensive numbers are just the opposite. So it's the classic offense versus defense. Campbell's the better offense, plays at a quick tempo. And on the other side, Monmouth, it wants to slow you down. Much better defensively. So I'll take a shot here. Campbell's beat them once. And they actually got them the very first time they played 68-65. And then Monmouth got that revenge. But I like the 2.5. Now at 1.5 plus 105 here for that dog.
Okay, going to the final one of the night, tipping off there in Washington, D.C. That total also in that Campbell-Monmouth game just moved to 154 here at the South Point. So going to Towson on the road at Hofstra in Washington, D.C. Remember, neutral site games for for some of these tournaments. We'll let you know if it's in the home site. But anyway, road, neutral site, both teams. Hofstra, technically the home team, is a 3.5-point home favorite against Towson. Total 133.
133, and I think it is correct. And if you have the stomach for it to play an under here, I'm going to use Kenny White's total on this one. But both teams play at the exact same style, a slow down, 343rd pace for Towson, 312 pace for Hofstra. Hofstra did sweep them in the regular season, won 78-67 and then 71-49. So very good. Both of these teams are on KenPom in the top 100 defensive rankings. Hofstra just happens to be 91st offense as well. So I'm not going to get involved with the dog here. I think it's a bad matchup for Towson. Hofstra has already shown that twice, even though, I usually like that double revenge. But under 132, I didn't find, and I'm going to, as we go to the horizon, just so I can get my actual number. Here we go. For that total of what he made it, 120. So nice little difference there. Maybe it's a first half under. Okay. Keeping it going to the horizon.
Horizon, These ones taking place in Indianapolis. Northern Kentucky against Wright State. Wright State, a 1.5-point favorite, total 157.5.
So this one, I'm going to use the double revenge to my handicap with liking Northern Kentucky here, but I think this could be a pick'em game. Like 2.5 better. Now we're at 1.5. Probably just take a shot at the plus 110 for them to win outright. Wright State won both. First one by 8, second one by 1. It was a very tight matchup between them. Northern Kentucky does have the better defense, technically. They play at a faster pace, but semis here. I'm going to take my shot with this dog as well.
Okay. Going to Detroit Mercy versus a polo you might be seeing here in a couple minutes. Bobby Moe at home as a 5-point home favorite, or 5-point favorite for Robert Morris. Total 146.
So Wright State, technically top of the conference. Robert Morris second in this league. I don't have anything. I think the numbers are right. Robert Morris won both this year, regular season games, 86, 77, 73, 62. So another one that I think it's a bad matchup. Could convince me to take 6, maybe if it moves up a little bit that way, but I'm probably going to stay off of that game altogether. And a lean to the under there at one. I've got 141.
Okay. The Southern Conference Championship here in Asheville, North Carolina. East Tennessee State is a 1.5-point favorite against Furman. Total 138.5.
Well, the first matchup went to overtime in Tennessee. 75-71 was the final. Second game in South Carolina, 78-69. East Tennessee State's coming off a really big win over Western Carolina yesterday. They want to slow it down on the offensive side, 248th in pace. It's another one I'm leaning to the dog here, catching points or maybe just even money there. I think I'm going to tie those 3 money line round robin and try and get 2, if not 3 of them as outright winners. But Furman's got the revenge at home. That's the one that they lost 78-69. So, yeah, I think they can hang in there. And the market's kind of telling you that the line is as well.
Okay. Going to the Sun Belt Championship today. Georgia Southern going for their 6th win in 6 days. They are catching 6.5 points against Troy, and total is 149 here at the South Point.
It's pretty wild that the Sun Belt changed to the step ladder, hoping to get their higher seeds in the NCAA tournament, and Georgia Southern wins 5 in a row, going here for 6. I like 6.5 here with Georgia Southern. I think they can keep it going. I think that they can at least keep it close. They only played once this year. They lost 83-78, so lost that one at home by 5. I don't know. I mean, you worry about them kind of running out of gas, right? And maybe their legs. But I think they're playing really good. You got to go with the momentum here, plus 6. My number is 1 with the home revenge added in, and 150.
Okay.
Yeah.
Going to the Big Sky, taking place in Boise, Idaho. Northern Colorado is a 3.5-point favorite against Montana. Total is 152.5.
Short and sweet on this one for both these matchups, Northern Colorado and Eastern Washington. I do think the favorites are the right side for both of them, under, as long as they're both under 5, I think that's good. Hopefully you took Idaho because they got a big win yesterday. So I've got a nice 12-1 ticket on them. We'll see if they can keep it going, but took down the number 2 seed yesterday. But for today's matchups, starting with Northern Colorado, they've won 9 of their last 10. So definitely like that one.
Okay. And then Eastern Washington there with the 3. You think that one's good as well?
Well, that one, I've made it 5. So not quite the difference I would like, but if you made me play it, it would be that side.
Okay. We'll go to the WCC Conference Tournament semifinals taking place here in Las Vegas today over at the Orleans Arena. But Gonzaga and St. Mary's will start their tournament runs needing to win 2 in order to be conference champions in the WCC. But first, Oregon State catching 18.5 against Gonzaga. Total is 144. And I'll give you the next one as well. Santa Clara catching 4.5 against St. Mary's. That total is 149.5.
And those two split in the regular season. I've got St. Mary's 3.5, a little bit to the over, higher at 154. But then the other side, I think that's way too many points here with Oregon State. It's just a matter of kind of having the stomach for that one. Gonzaga could rest some guys, though, that aren't 100% healthy. I don't see them rushing them out here. So 18.5 is a lot of points. And Oregon State, it's a wild story that they have already fired Wayne Tinkle, but he's going to finish out the year, and looks like the guys are really playing hard for him. So I would take 18.5. Comparing mine and my dad's, I've got them a little bit closer, 15, and Kenny White's got them at 13. So
The Zags fan base will be taking over that arena. I mean, you are completely right. 18.5 is a whole lot of value, or a whole lot of points to be able to win by 19 to cover there with the Zags. But those fans, Orleans Arena is going to be, even people staying at the Orleans, it's going to be about 80% populated by Zags.
that's right. It starts. And I mean, even with Santa Clara, they took care of business yesterday, but it still just feels like it's always going to end up being those two, right? Gonzaga and St. Mary's.
Yeah, and that 80% might be light too. It very well could be closer to 95%.
Well, come on, Beavers. Let's keep it close there. A little bit of that plus 18.5. I think that's it. Well, actually, that's not true. SWAC is starting. I did take a little bit of a future that I think there is value in that conference, and hoping that they can make a run here. Texas Southern, 10-1. Just didn't finish great in the seeding in that conference, but I think they are one of the better teams. So 10-1. Going to take a little shot there. And we're going to give out our futures for Power 5 tomorrow. Me, Ryan, and Matt. Or not even, if it's not necessarily a bet, just who we have winning those conference tournaments. Okay, I think that is it. Good, we got Attila's request for the WCC. And we got through all of them. So, yeah, I'm going to do a nice little round robin here with some underdogs to get home tonight. But let's take a quick break. Let's bring Chris Andrews on. We can recap the weekend that was in all sports, and then get his thoughts on these big tournaments coming up here on Sports by the Book.
If you're celebrating a special occasion or just love fine dining, you're in the right place. Come experience the crown jewel of South Point restaurants, Michael's Gourmet Room.
Welcome.
With over 600 different types of wines and magnificent dishes prepared tableside, you'll revel in the rich classic Vegas decor and the best black tie service in the world. This intimate gourmet room has earned accolades galore. Come to Michael's Gourmet Room for an unforgettable dining experience. Another famous restaurant is the Silverado Steakhouse, where you'll find the charm and service that discerning patrons require. From top quality steaks and chops to fresh seafood and desserts, you'll love the award-winning wine list and menu at Silverado Steakhouse. Steak lovers have even more options with primarily prime rib. Catering to hearty appetites, the menu features a variety of flavorful prime rib cuts, dry-aged to ensure tenderness, and then seasoned and slowly roasted. Although prime rib is our specialty, it's not the only thing on the menu. There's something for everyone. South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Perfect timing, because as we bring Chris Andrews in, Sportsbook Director here at the South Point, he brings us these beautiful sheets of a ton of conference tournament odds here, our Power 5, and much more, including the Atlantic 10. That should be a lot of fun. So if you want to check those out, or if you have the app, you can follow along with us as we go through them. Sports by the Book, live from the South Point Hotel and Casino. Ryan McCormick behind the glass, Alex Waite, and now Chris Andrews at the desk. How's it going? And these are hot off the press, huh?
Hot off the press, yeah. We just put them up this morning, and we got pretty tight straddles on these. So pretty good value, I think, if guys want to come out and bet. I think you'll find some of the best prices in town, depending on who you like.
There's one right there that jumps out to me. I was hoping to get plus price with UConn, but I can't fault you for making that minus 125 there.
Yeah.
Coming off of that Marquette loss, they're one seed in jeopardy.
Yeah.
They need this conference tournament win.
I think, going into the weekend, I'm not saying they had it wrapped up, but it looked like between them and Florida come off with a big win. They look like they're peaking right now. And, Connecticut, Hurley, I saw some guy, he's going down a Bobby Knight trail all of a sudden. He's really getting a little too volatile, and he's a great coach. He really is. He's just a terrific coach. But at some point, you got to put the brakes on a little bit with that temper. I don't know if, I think when you go see anger management, that's a bunch of bullshit. You just got to figure it out yourself.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to tell you, oh, just be calm. That doesn't work.
Well, I saw something, and it was a tweet about, of course, he does this, and he's ejected in the last minute or so he doesn't have to shake hands with Shaka Smart and go through the whole line.
Okay.
But it's almost like that's terrible and kind of makes sense. Like, come on, finish the game. It's 1 minute to go, but
it was a kind of questionable call there, but
Yeah.
how many questionable calls are in a basketball game? There's a bunch of them, come on, you were the better team. You should have won. If you were that much better, you should have went out and won that game.
yeah.
What do you have Marquette to win the, I haven't looked at all the prices.
80-1
Yeah, okay.
Marquette to win that. St. John's 2-1 if you do like them, and that's the only.
It looks like the only two, yeah.
It looks like the only two. And St. John's has they've got some revenge on Connecticut the last time those two met.
Two excellent coaches, too.
Yeah. So that should be a fun tournament. Over the weekend, Chris, I kind of started the show with this, but a bad showing for the bubble teams on Saturday. A lot of them dropped their final game in the regular season.
Who all did you have in mind? I know we looked at Belmont was one that lost in the semis, I believe. God, who beat them? A 9 seed. I can't remember who even beat them. But, they look probably out of the tournament now.
How about St. Louis looks
St. Louis.
They might have to actually win this Atlantic 10 now, but maybe not. Maybe they still are okay. Ryan, can you...
Who were some of the other bubble teams, Ryan, that you were looking at?
Let me see, too, as I go down. Well, okay, SMU's still kind of bubble. They lost to Florida State. Cincinnati is on the bubble. They lost to TCU. I think TCU is actually playing pretty good right now, though.
Yeah.
They might be a little sneaky in that one. There's a couple more here. Well, Louisville beat Miami, Florida, so that was a good one for them. Stanford wins. They beat NC State. NC State is not looking good.
No.
They might drop off. And yeah, just Auburn too. Auburn loses to Alabama, which
Auburn. I don't even know how they're a bubble team, but okay.
Well, did you see Bruce Pearl
of course
completely retract and said, "Okay, Miami, Ohio should be in."
Well,
and he's rooting for Akron now too.
Yeah. Listen, here's one thing you got to remember, and I know guys. I'll tell you, Bear knows Bruce Pearl. Says he's really kind of a nice guy, and I always say, all these con men are great. They're very personable. If you meet them, you're gonna you're going to enjoy probably dinner and hear a couple stories. And all that. It doesn't change who they are. And Bruce Pearl's always kind of done things that a little bit on the other side, whether you agree with the rules or not, the rules are the rules. And I think he's, shown that he doesn't always follow them. And then, he said, that was really a stupid thing to say. It really was. You go undefeated in your conference.
Yeah.
And, and the MAC has won some games. And I remember, oh God, I can't remember. It was Kent State made it to the Elite Eight. This is many years ago, but they've won some games in the tournament. They're not a horrible conference, you go undefeated in that conference, you deserve to go.
I hate that everybody is looking at and saying they keep playing these quad 3 and quad 4 in their conference and they're winning by 2 points. That just started happening at the very end here because every team is fired up and ready to play them for the last 10 games that they played.
Put that one.
That game against Ohio on Friday.
Great game, yeah.
I thought maybe they were going to lose that one.
That was nip and tuck the whole way, yeah.
So this kind of brings in Ryan for a conversation that he was looking forward to having with you. And I see it a lot over X or Twitter right now about the regular season champion, and then they have to go to the tournament. So it looks like Miami, Ohio is going to be safe, but not other teams like Navy, who had a very good year.
Right, yeah.
And then loses in their
loss on a
tournament.
miracle 3. Some guy pointed out, I didn't catch it the first time. The guy went behind his back in traffic to shoot that 3.
I didn't
behind
catch
his
that
back,
either.
boom, shot it. Hell of a play. But here was my point. Okay. And first of all, a conference can decide who their representative is. They don't have to go with the tournament champion. Now, I don't know any that don't.
Right.
I'd have to check the Ivies because I'm not sure the Ivy even has a conference tournament. But, you could, every conference could decide for themselves. What my point is, okay, and I said it after the Belmont loss, and I could have said it after the Navy loss. You have 3 months of playing great basketball, playing, couple times a week, and then you have a bad 40 minutes. And all of a sudden now you're not going. Doesn't that kind of cheapen the regular season? It does. The conference tournaments, we all know, they're big money makers for these conferences. Between the TV rights and the attendance and everything else that they're selling. So I'm not saying you shouldn't have the conference tournament, but you as a conference, should decide. But you have to say it beforehand. Who is going to represent our league. Now, if there's a team that does win the conference tournament, the committee can still put them in the field of 68. But I think you cheapen the regular season by not awarding the regular season champion to be your representative in the NCAA tournament. That's one man's humble opinion. I know that a lot of people disagree with me. Believe me, I've heard it on Twitter. Most people disagreed with me, but that's it is what it is.
So I didn't disagree with you on Twitter, but I am someone that does disagree with you. That is kind of the beauty of March and the beauty of college basketball is getting to this tournament time. And if they got into the big dance, they would be the same result. Whenever they lose, they're out. So my kind of thoughts on what should change or what you could do to make, other than changing the conference tournament brackets to do that step stool kind of thing, and which I hate to begin with. But I was talking with Alex this morning. If you win your conference regular season, you are the number 1 seed in your conference tournament. You get a guaranteed play-in spot. So if you were to lose in your conference tournament, not a spot. Okay, so let me restart. You win your conference regular season, you're the number 1 overall seed in your conference tournament. If you lose in your conference tournament, you go into a play-in pool. So for Belmont, for Navy, for UNC Wilmington, for those teams that were the number 1 overall seed in their conference tournament that just lost, got their bid stolen in their conference tournament, instead of seeing double-digit Big 10, SEC, Big 12, ACC, those conferences don't need any more money. We are contributing to a top feeders and bottom feeders and are extrapolating that gap. So you can give the mid-majors more money by allowing them to have more participants, having them be in the play-in games if they have not won their tournament. So if you win your conference tournament, you are not in a play-in game. I don't want to see you in Dayton. That's wrong to begin with. You are guaranteed a seed as one of the 16, no play-in game, not in Dayton. For the teams that lost in their conference tournament, they go into a pool that could be in a play-in game to where Wilmington would play against Belmont in order to get into the tournament, or Navy would play against Wilmington. However that scenario would shake out, or you make them play against a bubble team in the power conference school to knock each other out. But that is just how I think things should work, and we should stop having the conversation of double-digit SEC. You should be limited, to be honest. In my mind, there's no reason these Power 4 schools should have more than 8 teams. You get a maximum of 8 bids if you're the ACC, Big 10, Big 12, SEC. I don't care how good your conference is. We are inflating the system with these quad 1 wins. Miami have said that they reached out to 75-plus teams to try and get on their schedule, and they all said no. We are inflating the system by having these quad 1 teams, these Auburns of the world that are barely above 500, having these quad 1 wins because they play in the SEC conference. That the system is being broken and being led down a path that we won't have a return from. So in order to incentivize the regular season, you don't get the automatic bid into the tournament, in my mind. You get a chance to have a play-in or be put in a pool to be included, but the conference tournaments, these tournament time is what makes this sport so great.
Well, if I were you, I'd put that out on Twitter because there's going to be some pushback. You understand that, right? So I'd like to hear, I always say, I've been around a long time, obviously. There's 2 sides to every story. So your side, what you just said, makes some sense. I have to look, I've only heard this in the last 2 minutes, So I need to, kind of parse through it a little bit and see there may be some flaws in that and hear what they are. But you can put it on Twitter. You're all about all the flaws. I can tell you that. So, that might spark an interesting conversation, so I would say do that and see how people respond and see what they think.
I do know that I would like the majority of pushback comes from the power conference fans,
of course,
saying that their conferences are the standard and whatever. Okay, then be better in your conference play. It's as simple as that. We don't need to be seeing more than 8 teams from these power conference schools. I don't care if you think your conference is that much better. We're talking about competitive balance, and by giving these teams payouts, by participating in playoff play, go to the conference and are revenue shared, except for in the ACC. The ACC passed a bylaw because they now have the unbalanced schedule in order to keep Miami, Florida State, Carolina, Clemson in the conference of the ACC. They're allowing each of their teams that make a postseason play to keep all of that postseason revenue. So Miami, for participating in the college football playoff, gets to keep all $20 million for themselves. They don't have to share it with the ACC. That creates a clear bottom and a clear top. Miami gets to put that back into their programs to make Miami a top-tier team in the ACC. Why would Wake Forest want to continue to have a football program? Why would basically any of the teams that have stayed at the bottom of the conference, why even have a football program and have to spend all this money on scholarships and all that kind of stuff and have to even it out with Title IX instead of now contributing more to other sports and allowing them to excel in other sports, but the other sports aren't a moneymaker for you. Football is the only sport in college athletics that makes any semblance of money for athletic departments, except for specific or a very small number of basketball programs.
Yeah, Duke, Kentucky, there's a couple. But I will say that here's one of the pushback. Okay, first of all, you're talking about the rich getting richer. Do you follow politics at all? You could have a whole diatribe there. We could go off on that. But the other thing is, one of the pushbacks I think you're going to get is right now, the conferences are so big, you can't really have a balanced schedule. Right. You can't play every team home and away. In the old days, and I remember, the first team to really do that, or the first conference to really do that was the ACC. you technically, and this is, you can go back, I don't know where you'd find it, but Google can find almost anything now. But go back before these conferences became so prevalent. The ACC said right in their bylaws, whatever, you were playing for a seed in the tournament. That was you're a 1 seed. You didn't win the regular season.
Right.
You wound up being the 1 seed or the 8 seed, or I think there was 8 teams when I started looking at this thing. Anyway, that kind of started this. The other thing I would say, because of the balanced schedule, but the other thing I would say, if you can't finish 500 in your conference, you absolutely should not be in the tournament. I mean, that just makes sense to me. I'd rather give the little guys a chance. Now, David Purdom had an article this morning. I don't know if you read it. It's about how the rich are kind of getting richer.
Right.
And one guy replied, and I didn't really look through it close enough to be able to comment back. Well, one guy replied to me, because I retweet David. He's a good friend of mine. But a lot of teams, this scenario happened last year, where a lot of the top conference teams got knocked out.
Right.
So, who was it that beat Belmont? I can't even remember. But anyway, they get in the tournament. They're going to be in a play-in game. They're going to be on that Tuesday or Wednesday night in Dayton. Even if they win, they're not going to beat a 1 seed. And we have seen, what was it, UMBC beat Virginia that 1 year. Is that who it was?
Yep.
So I mean, that's at least a legit team. And I think, the way things were going, you may see more of that. Now the way things are going, I'm not sure you're going to see that. And I mean, we're kind of in the middle, or I wouldn't even say the middle. We're in the beginning of the NIL and all this other stuff. And one thing I like about certain teams is, and I'd have to look through Miami's roster a little more closely, but I think you have a lot of seniors on those teams. A lot of players. If you're not coming out after year one, if you're not one and done, you might as well stay in college.
Yeah.
First of all, we were in college. College is kind of fun, and then had to now I'm not sure anybody in Miami's making $1 million a year, but they're probably making a couple of bucks,
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to, first of all, you're probably not going to go to the NBA, but maybe you go to, Australia or Israel or, different leagues around the world. But to struggle to make that, or stay in college, stay in America, get your education, do all that. So, I mean, that may work in college basketball's favor. I hope it does. But like I said, we're in the beginning of this NIL stuff, and there's a lot that'll happen that maybe we don't foresee right now.
I personally like the step ladder, and I think more small conferences should do it to set up their teams that dominated in the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a reason, and I guess it makes it lopsided, right, with Gonzaga and St. Mary's, where they have continued to just stay at the top, and it makes it tougher for other teams to catch them. I don't know.
Yeah, but they win the tournament every year anyway, don't they? When was the last time Gonzaga or St. Mary's didn't win that tournament?
They're locked into the semifinal, so they just have to
they have like a triple bye almost, or some of those at the SEC or the Big Ten, they have like a triple bye.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and the Sun Belt's trying it, and they have Georgia Southern winning 5 in a row down the step ladder, taking out these teams. So it is funny. But so Drake ended up beating Belmont, but Northern Iowa ended up winning the Missouri Valley. But I kind of like them too.
Yeah, they're not bad.
Like diving in.
They had that one really good team that I think made the Elite Eight.
They are. They beat Kansas.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a big win I remember being on the right side of that one.
Yeah, so. Ben Jacobson, head coach, this will be his 5th NCAA tournament appearance. So they're pretty good too. Yeah. So I kind of do like that. It would be fun to see Belmont get to be in a play-in now, but we also get Northern Iowa, who won the.
Yeah, and actually Belmont's been a good program for a long time.
Yes. So it'll be interesting. Any more notes on that, you two, or not yet?
That's about it right now. Like I said, some of the Ryan's proposal. I like parts of it. I'd have to look at it a little more closely. Yeah. And see both sides of that argument. Yeah. So
from your from where you are and looking at some of these, did you like any kind of long shots that could make runs? I know Michigan, Duke.
I've been on Iowa
Arizona.
State. I've been on Iowa State, but they haven't played great the last couple of weeks.
Okay, and in their bracket, they get Arizona,
Yeah,
of course.
That's always going to be tough.
Houston actually looks like they have a better path.
They haven't played great either. They
No.
snuck out a win the other day, but I mean, they were losing most of that game. Who'd they play? Oak State, I want to say.
Yeah.
Played somebody well, not that good, and they were a big favorite and really were kind of lucky to win that. I do think Sampson's a hell of a coach, but they've, I had my eye on them last year, and they of course,
Won the Big
went to the
12
Final
and
Four.
then went to the finals.
Yeah, went to the finals.
Yes.
But this year, I'm not sure they're as good of a team. I mean, they just seems like maybe something missing a little bit out of that squad.
I agree. I actually think Texas Tech might be sneaky there at 20-1.
Yeah, your dad likes A&M too, right? Well, didn't he? Did he kind of sour on them a little bit?
Yeah.
I've been kind of keeping an eye on them. They have not played great
They
since
have not.
since Kenny made that. But like things change all the time.
Well, yeah, it's funny because they were 300-1. That's when I told you.
Yeah.
Wisconsin was 300-1.
Now there's a team.
One of the team, the stock went up. One of the stock went down.
Yeah.
So
I think
good
Jeff-
on Sean getting them at 300-1.
Sean got him at 300-1.
Yes.
That's not bad.
Yes.
Jeff Fogel has his article about them yesterday or the day before. I mean, that's a team that somebody's going to come out of nowhere. Now, nobody did last year, but somebody's going to come out of nowhere. And Wisconsin might be that team. Who knows?
Michigan ended up winning the Big Ten last year. I don't remember when they got knocked out. But I don't know if they need to win this either. So I think there might be a little bit of value in that Big Ten, whether it's Wisconsin or Illinois or maybe Sparty after getting swept by Michigan.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on them right now as we see them lose twice to
He's a great coach. But their last win was like, what, 2001 when they won the tournament?
Yeah.
Mateen Cleaves, and it was a great team and a great coaching effort. And so he usually pulls an upset, covers a lot of numbers, but he hasn't really gone to the Final Four in an awful long time. So I'd be a little hesitant there. But I think I talked about this on last week's show. A lot of these favorites who don't, if they do get knocked out, doesn't really hurt them that much, and in some cases kind of helps them.
Right.
So, like if a team, like let's say Arizona were to lose, and that's a tough conference, they could easily lose. I don't think it would hurt them in the seed. They're still going to be in one seed, and they still might march to the Final Four. I don't know. I don't think that's out of the question.
It's Florida that needs it if they want to keep that one seed.
Yeah, they do because they're on the bubble of a 1.
Because they're 25-6. They played a tough non-con.
Yeah,
and I agree with what you said. Peaking at the right time earlier in the season, played a tough schedule and lost to some good teams.
Mm-hmm.
But now they figured it out. So, yeah, that's the one favorite I'd be careful betting against. Even though the SEC, I mean, there are some good teams there too. Alabama, before they lost to Georgia, I believe it was.
Well, I think Jay Bills, that's his team as a sleeper, is Alabama. He says
Yeah.
if they get healthy, and they had, I'm terrible with the names, but they had that one guard who has been kind of in and out of the lineup. Is that correct?
He came back from the G League, and then they said that they were, I don't know, he didn't win against NCAA or whatever.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember. It starts with a B.
Yeah, and then Tennessee was missing one of their good players the other day. I was surprised people bet Tennessee against Vanderbilt. I mean, Vanderbilt was a very good team.
And that was home revenge spot for Vandy.
Yeah, did you have Vandy that day?
No, I had Wisconsin, and
Okay.
who was my other sleeper? Oh, New Mexico. I took the points, but
Okay.
they didn't win outright. But But I said Vandy, nice home revenge because Tennessee got them the first time. But I didn't know. I didn't think it was enough points. I didn't need any points. But Ryan, are you looking? What were you looking at there for us?
Just some NFL news.
More
A
NFL.
lot of NFL news.
We got to
today.
get your thoughts on that too. With
So
the Steelers being active.
the Raiders have now the most expensive lineman center in NFL history. They are paying Tyler Linderbaum $27 million a year, 3 years, $81 million to get Tyler Linderbaum to come be the center for the Raiders. A couple moves from guys that were under Brian Daboll with the Giants in Wan'Dale Robinson and Daniel Bellinger now reuniting with Brian Dable in Nashville, Tennessee on the
Oh,
Titans.
is that right? Okay, good for him.
So
Wow.
Daniel goes to Country Vegas there.
And oh God, help me out here. Kansas City, who did they sign?
Kenneth Walker.
Kenneth Walker. That should, because their running games kind of fell off the last couple of years, So I think that should be a big improvement for them.
Another thing with that, excuse me, I saw from Warren Sharp, he tweeted out that the Chiefs had the number 5 or the worst, highest pass-heavy offense in the NFL the last 5 years. 3 of those last 5 years, they've been without Eric Bieniemy, who left to take the Commanders' offensive coordinator, who went to UCLA, and was the Chicago Bears running backs coach last year. Chicago Bears had the one of, if not the best running game in the NFL last year. And so now they bring in Eric Bieniemy back to Kansas City and bring in Kenneth Walker to be the Chiefs running back. I absolutely love both of those moves for the Chiefs offense this year.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. And I think Bieniemy, I'm not sure why he's not a head coach. I don't know. Who knows? But he's been a hell of a coordinator and assistant coach. And I think him back with Kansas City should be a big plus. By the way, the Raiders now, they got 2 first-round draft choices this year and 2 next year.
Yes.
Boy, if they play their cards right,
Yeah.
that's some pretty good building blocks.
It's expensive for a center, but if you are taking your franchise quarterback at number 1,
Yeah. I think center is an underrated position. I think we've probably talked about that on this show.
yeah,
I mean, a lot of times that's the guy calling the offensive line signals. He's the center. He's the middle of that offensive line. I mean, I think that's a pretty important position.
I agree. Definitely. Chris, there was some comments in here from our friend Bob Custer in Nevada.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He said that you were doing sports talk radio in Reno and
Well,
wagering sports talk up
many
there?
years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
sure.
I didn't even realize that. He said you were one of the first.
Yeah, we our friend Barry Phillips, who does the golf with us until
Yeah.
he's moved away. We started in 1989, and yeah, we have a pretty good history of doing that kind of stuff. Yeah,
Very cool. Yeah, he said Chris was on the early sports betting station,
yeah,
KPLY. So
yeah.
shout out
K-play.
to Bob.
Yep.
Bob Custer.
Thanks, Bob.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else from the chat, Ryan, that we gotta check in with, or our poll question? Did we even read it?
Well, was thinking, Chris, what are your thoughts on Michael Pittman Jr. now joining that Steelers offense, and what more you think they need to do?
That must have happened this morning, right?
Yes. Yeah, they
I'm
traded
still
for him.
getting caught up, so I don't. I'd have to go take a little closer look at it.
Okay. They did
Or I
sign
say
him.
something stupid, which would not be that hard for me to do.
They did sign him to a 3-year extension, so he will
Did
be
they?
Michael Pittman Jr. will be a Steeler for the next, well, in theory, the next 3 years. So, well, to get to our poll today, we asked you guys laying or taking the points here, laying or taking it on the line. Your play for today's conference championship games. So in the Southern, either Furman getting the +1.5 there, or East Tennessee State laying that 1.5, or in the Sun Belt, whether Georgia Southern catching that 6.5 or Troy laying the 6.5. We have a tie on both the winners and losers of the vote. So the winners of the vote, 30% of the vote on both of them, would be to take the points in the Southern and the Sun Belt, Furman plus the 1.5 and Georgia Southern plus the 6.5, and then 20% of the vote on the other two laying the points there. So that was our poll for today's viewers.
Very good. Chris, how has the World Baseball Classic been for you guys? And have you been busy up there? Just people.
A lot of people
Watching it.
watching it. We're
Yeah.
going to reopen the futures once everybody gets back to America.
Okay.
This Dominican team, though. Oh, man. I told you, we already lose on them. I'm not feeling so good. I mean, we don't. We'll be open the next day, But that's a pretty good team. They have a lot of fun too. God bless them.
Yes. They were in action today. Ryan, do we have that? I saw they had put up 5 already.
Yeah, Tatis hit a grand slam. I don't know what the score is right now.
I could not find it on this odd sheet. So, but yeah, USA plays Mexico tonight. That
Yeah.
should be a fun one too.
And there's a lot of games here
Of 8 to
in
1.
Las Vegas and in Henderson, and we tried to put them all up, including the women's games. We've got a couple good games. Well, I don't know. I'm hoping Oregon State could show up against Gonzaga, but
Yeah.
the Santa Clara St. Mary's game, that should be a pretty good game. That's a good game. It's a short price, only 3.5. And of course, my alma mater, 5.5. They've been playing really good ball.
They have.
They have played good ball for like the last maybe 6-8 weeks, something like that. So hoping they can take it to the big dance. Why not?
I've got a whiteboard full of dogs, but in that conference, I do like both favorites.
Yeah.
So I think they can take care of business tonight, too.
And of course, my other school, my daughter is going to the University of Montana, getting her doctorate degree.
Very good.
They play Northern Colorado, 4.5-point dogs. But I don't know. I'll be rooting for Montana. I'm not all that confident, or else I'd have worn that shirt today.
Right. Well, yeah, you go with the favorite. And Drew Dog's going to keep track of
Sure. He's
how
only
your
got,
shirts did.
799 episodes to go through.
A lot of episodes there. Ryan, what was our ticker trivia for the day?
Ticker trivia was talking about college basketball and the tournaments there. So, question was written: name the top men's and women's basketball teams with the most number 1 seeds to date in NCAA tournament history. You guys have a guess on either the men's or women's sides?
Well, women, I'd say Connecticut. Men's, boy, how far back have they done the seedings? If they go back to when I was a kid, it'd be UCLA, but that's probably not the case. Men's, I'm going to guess Kansas.
So you had half of the answer on the women's side as your answer. We'll go men's to women's. So you did say UConn for the women's side, but we'll go men's to women's. So on the men's side, the North Carolina Tar Heels have the most number 1 seeds
That's your outfit.
in NCAA tournament history with 18. Most recent number 1 seed would be in 2024. On the women's side, both the Tennessee Volunteers and the Connecticut Huskies are record holders for the most number 1 seeds, each with 22. Tennessee, their most recent number 1 was in 2014, so it's been a little bit over a decade. And for UConn, it was back in 2021. So JR got Tennessee in the chat for today's ticker trivia presented by City Light Shine.
See, good thing I didn't guess. I was going to guess Duke, and then Ryan would have been very upset since it was actually North Carolina. But UConn, yeah. That should be good. The women's upset with Texas over South Carolina, so we'll see more to come. And then Attila wrote in there because crazy upset in Mountain West. Air Force beats SDSU, really making that one wide open, which I'm excited. We'll talk to Matt tomorrow, but I'm excited to look at some of these Mountain West Conference tournament odds.
We got good prices. We really do.
It's wide open. Right now, Colorado State, who just won a year or two ago, is playing really good, and so is UNLV. Wyoming's playing really good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's going to be an upset there. Maybe a bid steal.
Where is that at? Is that at?
That's at Thomas and Mack.
That's at Thomas and Mack. Okay.
Yeah, and it's been a long time since UNLV's actually won it, and they've should have a little home court advantage there. But all right, well, that's it for us today. Ryan is clearing his whiteboard. He's going to get ready. I'll go ahead and go through mine. I told you I just got 5 underdogs today. What do we call this again, Chris?
3-dog roundy.
3-dog roundy. I'm going to take them all on the money line. I'm hoping to get all 3.
What do you got?
But 2 would be nice. So it is going to be.
Yeah, we'll learn Kentucky. Okay, I might follow you.
These big mid-major conference games here. So we're going Campbell on the money line, or if you want to do the plus 1.5.
Nah, I'm going to go for the gusto.
Okay.
Campbell.
Northern Kentucky, plus 110. And I did do all of our numbers here. And then we've got Furman, even money, which that one is the actual
No, there's still a dog.
Championship. Yeah, still a dog.
One side's a favorite,
Even
the other
money.
side's the dog.
Very good.
So.
I'm going to take the 6.5 with Georgia Southern. We'll see if they can keep it close against Troy. 6 game and 6 nights. And then a little money line on Chicago Blackhawks, plus 180 to win that one. A lot of dogs today.
Did you watch that Penguin game yesterday?
No, I missed the Penguin game.
5-4. They were down 3-0. So that was on national TV. That was a great game. And then how about the Tampa game last night?
Insane. Tampa and Buffalo.
That was hilarious.
150 minutes. What did you say, Ryan? How many penalty minutes?
For 15 plus goals, 100 plus penalty
100
minutes.
plus and 15
Ninth
plus.
time in NHL history.
And of course, the Flyers were involved in the last one, right?
Yes. Yeah, Flyers,
What?
Penguins in the postseason.
Oh my God. I was at some of those Flyers, not that one, but I was at some Flyers Penguins games where, I mean, it was raucous. Let's just say on the ice and off.
Oh, yeah. Very good. The ones in Philadelphia or Pittsburgh as well. You're just either side. Because we know how Philly fans are, but in Pittsburgh, it got pretty wild.
You think Pittsburgh guys aren't tough?
No, they are. I
Okay,
know
yeah.
they are. I got to visit that state. I was actually just talking to my sister-in-law about that. 'Cause she's got family in Pittsburgh too. So.
Okay.
He's okay. I didn't mean it. I just meant Philadelphia. You know, they're burning down their city and stuff. They're that kind of crazy.
Yeah, they boo Santa Claus. You know, Pittsburgh has a little more class than Philly.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
I don't know what's so funny, Ann.
I'm going to throw it to Ryan for his best bets of the day. Here we go, Ryan. What do you think?
It's just going to be the home dog. Not the biggest one in hockey, but it'll be the Hawks going for 3 for 3 with a fourth one coming up against the Mammoth, but that plus 180 there at home at the United Center.
I thought you were going to Oregon State.
No, that is the one giggling back there. That's going to Oregon State.
Yeah? On the money line?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you hear that?
No, what do you say?
Ann's going to take a little bit of Oregon State money line
Oregon State money line?
against Gonzaga.
Okay. Is Wayne Tinkle still the coach? I know he's
Yeah.
going to finish the year, I think, right?
Yeah, and they're playing for him.
Yeah. He should have stayed at Montana. He was doing great at Montana. I was kind of sick that he left there.
Yeah. But I know Gonzaga has got at least one guy that was doubtful or questionable. But you wouldn't think that they would want to rush him back tonight, right? So something to keep an eye on. Check the lineups here. All right, that's it for us today. Matt and Everett joins us tomorrow for the full hour. We've got a lot more college basketball to talk about. We'll give out our conference odds here, who we like to win. And we'll talk a lot about hockey. We've got 14 games on the slate tomorrow. Thank you to Chris Andrews. If you stop by the South Point, make sure you say hello. Hopefully, a lot of you are planning on coming in just a week and a half. Thursday, we start the big party here, the most massive madness party here at the South Point. Free parking, free entry, betting kiosks everywhere, plenty of seating. So you're going to want to plan on that. Not this Thursday, but the following Thursday. Okay. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you to the crew and Jerry, Sean, Vince, and Drew Dog. Again, Chris, thank you. Good luck. Let's cash some tickets here. Get some dogs home. I'm Alex White. You've been watching Sports by the Book. Same place, same time tomorrow here at the South Point.